Hi, I'm Robin.
Hi, and I'm Bill.
Welcome to a brand new series, Not the Retirement Show. This series features everything that you need to know to live a happy, thriving, long life when you're no longer working, but we aren't going to be using the R word anymore.
No, people don't seem to like that word. I'm not sure why, because when you get to that age in life and you stop working, what do people call that? I mean, they don't want to call it retirement for some reason. So I
Well,
don't know.
retirement is what your father or your grandfather did. They worked one job for a really long time. If they were lucky, they got a gold watch and a small pension when they stopped working.
Well,
They lived a short amount of time, and that was it. Life
yeah,
was basically over.
yeah.
That's not the case anymore. Life is really just beginning in those later years when you're no longer tied to a 9 to 5 type working
So
environment.
yeah, so I think the whole purpose of this series is to address some of the issues that you will face as you get older, but I think also from what we would call the emotional side of things. In other words,
Hmm.
as you get older, and some of the obvious things like money, finance issues, etc., health, obviously, begin to become more important, perhaps, or take more more effect in your life. There are any number of emotional issues, I think, associated with a lot of that. And I think sometimes when we watch videos or read books about retirement planning, I think a lot of that stuff is somehow skipped over.
Well, you know what it is? When you are an adolescent, everybody is telling you to, to grow up, be mature, get your emotions under control, and then you're what's called a grown up. And as a grown up, you're supposed to know everything. You're supposed to understand how life is going to be. But when you suddenly embark on a brand new journey to a new kind of life that you have never experienced before, all kinds of new things surface. And along with it, new emotions, new feelings as you try to process these changes that are happening both internally and externally. I think one of the really big mistakes that we've all been making is trying to sweep all this emotional stuff under the rug, pretending that it doesn't happen, that we don't feel, that we're immune, that we're tough. And Bill, I just think that's a really big
Well, I
mistake.
think I think the issue is the word longevity. You talked about fathers and grandfathers, etc., going back several decades, obviously, sort of thing. The word longevity was never in anybody's language. I mean,
Hmm.
nobody ever used the word longevity. And I think that was the kind of mindset that people got into. In other words, once they'd sort of turned 60, 61, 62, they were thinking about, in 2 or 3 years' time, I'm going to retire.
Hmm.
And hopefully I can live a little bit longer beyond that. But the whole idea of living another 10, 15, 20, 25 years
30 years at least.
was, I mean, it literally just never came into consideration. And I think the point that we're trying to make in this series is that because of that, because you are going to live an extra 20, 25 years or whatever, there are several aspects of life which come into play. As I say, over and above just will I have enough money to retire, or will I outlive my money, or anything like that. I think the biggest aspect of this is realize that there are other aspects of life as you progress,